Good evening. We are back with another video. No, it's the first video I'm going to do that I'm going to read in English, and specifically we are going to read a fairy tale, Beauty and the Beast. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. There was once a merchant who had been very rich at one time, but who, having had heavy losses, was compelled to retire to a little cottage in the country, where he lived with his 3 daughters. The 2 elder ones were very much disconnected at their poverty and were always grumbling and making complaints. I didn't know that Belle from Beauty and the Beast had 2 sisters. I didn't know that. But the youngest one, who was called Beauty, oh, she was called Beauty, okay, and who was as amiable as she was handsome. Handsome or beautiful, I don't know. Tried all she could to comfort her father and make his home happy. Once, when he was going on a journey to try and mend his affairs, he called them around him and asked them what he should bring them when he returned. The 2 elder ones wanted each a number of nice presents, but Beauty, kissing him sweetly, said she would be content with a rose. So when the merchant was on his way back, he came to an elegant garden, of which the gate stood open, and thinking of Beauty's rose, he went in and, plucking a beautiful one, prepared to proceed on his journey. As he turned to go, he saw a hideous beast coming towards him, armed with a sword. This terrible creature reproached him for stealing his flowers. I think he needs to relax a little. It's a flower. Relax. Of which he was very joyous, and threatened to kill him on the spot. Okay. The merchant begged for his life and said that he had only taken a single one to please his daughter. On this, the beast said gruffly, "Well, I will let you off if you will bring one of your daughters here in your place." That's strange. Why? But she must come here willingly, and meanwhile you may stay and rest in my palace until tomorrow. But as you may well believe, the poor father did not feel much like eating or sleeping, although everything was done for his comfort, and in the morning the beast sent him home upon a beautiful horse. princess, but she will be. So is that really our role model? Are we supposed to be like that? No. And quite willing to go. So Beauty got ready for the journey at once. The father, who meant to return to the beast himself, after embracing his children, tried to dissuade her, but in vain. And so the two set out together for the beast's palace, much to the secret joy of the envious sisters. The sisters remind me of the stepsisters of Cinderella, which in Cinderella's fairy tale, it's kind of normal to have sisters like that because they were their stepsisters and their mother was bad. So it makes sense. But now, those two sisters, why are they like that? Why? Their father, was a good man, as we can see. Mother, I don't know, but no one told us that the mother of Beauty was bad. No one told us. And also, they are sisters, they are actual sisters. Why the two of them behave like they are from another family? Why? Strange things happen. When they arrived at the palace, the doors opened of themselves. The technology, wow! Sweet music was heard, and they found an elegant supper prepared. As soon as they had refreshed themselves, the beast entered and said in a mild tone, "Beauty, did you come here willingly to take the place of your father?" his daughter. No, kill me, I don't care. After he was gone, she entered an elegant room, on the door of which was written in letters of gold, "Beauty's Room." Lying on the table was a portrait of herself, set in gold and diamonds, and on the wall these three words: "Beauty is queen here, all things will obey her." Here meals were served to the sound of music, and at supper time, the beast, after knocking timidly, would walk in and talk so amiably that she soon lost all fear of him, and once when he failed to come, felt quite disappointed. At least one night he said to her, "Am I so very ugly?" "Yes, indeed you are." At least she's honest, said Beauty. "But you are so kind and generous that I don't mind your looks. Will you marry me, dear Beauty?" Okay, that was very sad. From "Am I ugly?" "No, you are very kind and I don't mind." "Okay, will you marry me?" Okay, if there wasn't for the curse, that would be very weird, but since we know that a curse is going on, then I understand why he's in a hurry. Okay, said the poor beast with a look of such eager entreaty in his eyes that Beauty's heart melted within her, and she was upon the point of saying yes. But happening to look towards him at that moment, her courage failed her, and turning away her head, she replied softly, "Oh, don't ask me. Don't ask me. Ask someone else, but not me." The beast then bade her good night with a sad voice, and went away sighing as if his heart would break. The palace was full of rooms containing the most beautiful objects. In one room she saw a numerous troop of monkeys, what? Of all sizes and colors. Monkeys. Was there a zoo? I don't understand. They came to meet her, the monkeys, making her very low bows and treating her with the greatest respect. Beauty was much pleased with them and asked them to show her about the palace. Instantly, two soft and tender way. She could hardly find in her heart to refuse him. Okay, but she did. She refused him. I think many times. But fine. He was waiting every day. Was he proposed? Was he proposing to her every day? Now although Beauty had everything that heart could wish, not everything, but fine, she could not forget her father and her sisters. And her sisters, I would forget them from the time they were jealous. I would forget instantly. At last, one evening, she begged so hard to go home for a visit that the beast consented to her wish, on her promising not to stay more than 2 months. 2 months in her home. That's big. That's very, that's fine. Okay. More days than a holiday. 2 months. Wow. He then gave her a ring, telling her to place it on her dressing table. Not on her finger, on her dressing table. Place this ring on your dressing table. Not on your ring, only on your finger. When she wished either to go or return, and showed her a wardrobe filled with the most elegant clothes. Where was this wardrobe all this time? I mean, now he showed her the wardrobe. All of this time she was with the same clothes. I bet they were dirty. As well as quantity of splendid presents for her father and sisters. Her sisters. At least her sisters would be happy with the elegant presents. The poor beast was more sad than ever after he had given his consent to her absence. It seemed to him as if he could not look at her enough, nor muster courage to leave her. Okay, then why did he do that? Why did he do that? She tried to cheer him, saying, "Be of good heart, Beauty will soon return." She didn't say, "I will return," she said, "Beauty. Maybe another girl named Beauty will return. Not me, another." But nothing seemed to comfort him, and he went sadly away. We don't care. Beauty felt very badly when she saw how but she ran out and hugged her father. So she returned home. How? I don't know, but somehow she returned home, even though she didn't know where she was. Telepathy. Beauty then related all the kindness and delicacy of the beast toward her, and in return discovered that he had been as liberal to her father and sisters. He had given them the large and handsome house in which they now lived. Oh, maybe a carriage took her to where the father and sisters lived. Okay, because they changed houses. The beast gave the family a new house, so the beauty couldn't go to her old house, so the guards took her to the house they are now living. I understood. She didn't know where she was, but she saw her family, so she ran out and hugged them. And her sisters. I can't believe it. He had given them the large and handsome house. Okay, with an income sufficient to keep them in comfort. For a long time, Beauty was happy with her father and sisters, but she soon discovered that her sisters was jealous of her. Now she discovered. Okay, then maybe they want to marry the beast. Do you want to marry the beast? I'm asking her sisters. They had the opportunity to go instead of her father, to go in his place, but no. Beauty That's not normal. And coaxed her to stay with him a few days longer. A few days longer. No, don't go at all. But since they had a new home, enough income, and gifts, yes, go back, yes. Go back to the beast. My daughter, go back to the beast. Unacceptable. Which she at last consented to do, with many misgivings, when she thought of her broken promise to the lonely beast. At last, on the night before she intended to return, she dreamed that she saw the unhappy beast lying dead on the ground in the palace garden. Poor beast. She woke all trembling with terror and remorse, and leaving leaving a note on the table for her dear father, placed the ring within her bosom, and whisked herself back again in the palace. Come on, she only returned because of a dream. Not because she wanted, because she was afraid that the beast would die. Would die out of what? Heartbreak. As soon as daylight appeared, she called her attendants and searched the palace from top to bottom. But the beast was nowhere to be found. She then ran to the garden, and there, in the very spot that she had seen in her dream, lay the poor beast, gasping and senseless upon the ground, and seeming to be in the agonies of death. At this pitiful sight, Beauty clasped her hands, fell upon her knees, and reproached herself bitterly for having caused his death. She thinks that she caused his death. Is that normal? Poor beast, she said, I am the cause of this. How? How is he a murderer? For staying 2 days longer to see her father. How can I ever forgive myself for my unkindness to you? Don't be unkind, it kills. delicious music. The music is delicious. Did you eat the music? In place of the terrible and dying beast, she saw a young and handsome prince who knelt at her feet and told her that he had been condemned to wear the form of a prideful beast until a beautiful girl should love him in spite of his ugliness. At the same moment, the apes and the